Hello and welcome to the Weekly Word. Today is Thursday, May 9th. I'm Morgan West.
And I'm Rich Parla.
Do you have a funny quip for us today?
No funny quips.
No funny quips.
I got yelled at last week.
Yes, no. Did you? Who?
No, nobody yelled at me.
Okay.
I'm just trying to save face.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fair. Tonight we're going to be talking about a number of topics, including single-use magical items, perfect films, and a number of other topics that we've found over the course of the week.
Yes, some of them we may give you opinions on, and some of them we may not.
I might not have any opinions.
That's not true.
It's probably impossible.
Morgan always has opinions.
That's true.
And I predict by about topic 2 or 3, her espresso may kick in.
Oh boy.
So.
God save us all.
Well,
God save you.
Actually, better.
You're the only one here.
No, that's right. We're also joined by nobody. Again, we're going to rectify that in the very short future. We think we've worked out all of our network issues. I think we've worked out the network issues and the bandwidth. Mm-hmm. So now we'll have people Skyping in. So we'll be making a list of people, and then we'll start getting people in here.
Yes. Please let us know if we're having any audio issues, any video issues, in the comments. Please and thank you. You guys have been the way we know. So keep us informed.
Yes.
So let's start it off, huh? First topic. Don't be afraid to give powerful, single-use magical items to your players. They can add some chaotic fun without completely breaking an entire campaign. That was from SlyFlourish on Twitter.
Yes. All right. So I find this one interesting. I have no problem with single-use magic items. Let me start there. I have no problem with them.
Yeah.
But this one's specific about giving powerful single-use magic items to players. Mm-hmm. And it's a very interesting, it's different than just giving the single-use magic item that's small and innocuous. That's what the typical DM's like, oh, their first level, their second level, don't give them this. Mm-hmm. But this one, and by the way, excuse me, in the description, there's a link. SlyFlourish's link is there. And he gives a list of all the powerful magic items, single-use items you can give.
Okay.
I'm not against it.
No,
I don't think I've thought down this path. I'll be honest. I don't think this way first, but saying it out loud, there's nothing here that I wouldn't do. I'd be really okay with this.
So I actually find that I prefer single-use magical items than items that you can just take with you throughout the campaign, because you start to rely on them. I know from the podcast that I listen to, for example, Tabletop Champions.
Yep.
On their first job, they were given a magic carpet, and it was used throughout every single job that they had after that first one. Mm-hmm. And it became almost like, oh, all right, and here they go. They're going to escape because they have this magic carpet.
But that's not single use.
No, and that's what my argument is that I would prefer a single use because it's a once and done, exciting moment. It doesn't become tedious. It doesn't become like, kitschy. You don't rely on it to get you out of jams later on in the campaign. So I like single-use magical items.
Yeah, and what's interesting, a couple of people had mentioned is, would the players just hoard it and never use it?
That's a problem in and of itself.
Yeah,
it
is. That
actually, I saw a recent post on Instagram that spoke to that, which was, I think it was Matt Mercer had made a comment about showing an image of a man giving this box, and it said, "This is an important and powerful item," and it says, "Great, I will inevitably remember that I have this and was not supposed to have used it as I'm watching the end credits roll," because you never know when that moment you're supposed to use it is, and you don't want to waste it.
Right.
So I can understand that.
Right, and well, it's in older editions, right? In older editions, you would get magic items and you would hoard them, sometimes to use, but a lot of times you'd want to just stash them and sell them.
Okay.
As we discovered last week when you and I looked it up, magic items are difficult to sell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not supposed to be sold. They're not unless you could set up a buyer, unless you go through the logistics of
you'd have
finding.
To
there's no magic.
Do some research, find somebody who could buy it off of you. Yes.
So, All right, I think we've beaten that one to death.
Well, yes, I think perhaps.
I am all in favor of single-use magic items
Yes.
for all levels of characters.
My girls know I like single-use magic items.
I am a believer. I agree.
I made a garlic thyme roll for my girls that they got given to them by the baker in their starting village, which grants them an additional turn in combat. So bonus action included.
By making the battlefield so stinky
I like
that
eating it up. It's a garlic thyme roll. It slows time down for the eater.
garlic thyme roll, or does it make everybody just cringe and go at a slower pace?
No.
How would it work against vampires?
Oh, it might be even more powerful against vampires. Who knows? Maybe they should chuck them at vampires. They're not going to hit any vampires, so.
Not yet. So now they have a reason to hoard it.
That's true. All right. Don't tell Tara.
Too late. I think she's been watching. Oh, by the way, Tara wants to come on. I asked Tara if she'd want to join us on Thursday, and she said yes.
Awesome. Join us. Yes, please.
So we should set that up. So our next topic is about Adventures League. Changes in Season 9 Adventures League. Changes in Season 9 Adventures League general community issue of how the major change is to limit the season a character can gain benefits from. Basically limiting power gaming players, in my humble opinion. In my humble opinion, by the way, is not my opinion. It came from Rich Ricky this week. So Rich Ricky, who plays Landau in our short restaurant artists. So what this change does essentially is they would like that Adventures League is, if I'm understanding it correctly, and if I get it wrong, and I apologize. But my understanding is what they were trying to do is they want people to create new characters at the beginning of a season, or something to that effect. Or beginning with Season 9, they want everybody to create a new character. Maybe not every season. But at the beginning of Season 9 in September, they would want everybody to create a brand new character.
Okay.
And your character is not eligible to go back to previous season content and get the unlocks and the magic items and the treasure for the advancement. For Season 9. They wanted to basically start over.
Okay.
You can go back and play that, but you won't get the unlocks and things like that.
Not for this particular character.
For this particular character.
Okay.
People were asking questions like, can they start their character over for Season 9 because they really like it? Yes, of course. And
interesting.
What I guess they're trying to limit is people coming in, going back through old content, getting all the unlocks and getting the treasure, and then bringing them all forward into Season 9 with this character that's a lot more powerful than maybe they should.
Okay.
I will be honest, I don't know all the rules of Adventure League. It's in Season 9 and it's advanced any time since it started when we had the store in Plainview.
Okay, I'll be honest, I don't know any of the rules of Adventure League, so I can't give my input. I don't think that there should be any reason that someone should complain about having to start a brand new character for Season 9 if that goes for everyone. I mean, if you were going to be speaking to one particular group of people, if only, new players or players who had only played X, Y, and Z seasons were going to be affected by this, that might be a reason to be frustrated or discontent. But if it's the choice that Adventure League is making to kind of have like a reboot, why not?
I don't have a problem.
Generally, it makes it more fun sometimes too.
Well, as they state, Adventure League is for new players, to bring new players on board.
Sure.
Yeah, they want to keep old players, but what they said is they want to take the aspect of creating an MMO at the table.
Okay.
They don't want to make it an MMO game that's just played on the table and people can go and they can power level by going through content that is older content. They want everybody to start the same level. So
okay.
I'm good with that, generally
speaking. I think so too.
Yes. Player management. This came from Sean Merwin. I apologize. Sean Merwin. Tip for player management. If technology at the table interferes with player attention, ask players to use the technology to make the game better. Take notes, track initiative, look up spells, etc. Fidgety players can be a tool for good. So, all right. So I think there's 2 or 3 different pieces to this topic. First, there's fidgety players.
Distracted players.
There's distracted players, and then there's distracted players by technology, right? And I think there are 3 distinct different things. I think players that are distracted by technology doesn't necessarily mean you can say, hey, stop going on Facebook and maybe take notes on your phone instead. I think that would be hard to wrangle up. And what do you think?
I don't think that would work.
So we've seen a player actually listen to music at the game table when it's not his turn.
Really?
Yeah.
Have I seen this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
That's intense. I have seen incredibly distracted players.
Right.
I have to say, I'm going to admit that I have been a distracted player, specifically on Tuesday nights, when in the past we've had tables with upwards of 9 or 10 players at the table where you're only taking a turn once every 10 minutes.
I've seen that too. The larger the table, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have a bigger
but
chance.
But that said, I think there's a certain amount of responsibility that you should have as a player.
Yeah.
To be with everyone else. You know, it's not a singular experience that you're having a shared experience. And if you're distracted, it's going to distract other players. And it's also disrespectful to the DM, I really think, personally. I try and do it as little as possible.
So I have a GM screen that inside has a table for distracted players.
Really?
And you roll on the table and something happens, like they have to buy the dinner or they have to order the pizza.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's fun.
Or there's an encounter or something. You know, and most of them are funny. Everything on the inside of this GM screen is funny.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, next time I'll bring that by. We'll read some of them off. It's pretty good.
Definitely. But as for asking them to use their technology to like enhance the game, I really just think that's going to be an excuse for them to use their technology more. Now they've got a reason to have the technology out. If you're going to ask somebody to keep initiative, I would much rather push them to do it physically, you know, tangible, in a book where you can see them writing down. If they want to doodle, like doodle, but there is something that really is enveloping about a phone. You know, I don't know how to describe it, but if you're absent-mindedly drawing in your notebook, you're still there in the moment. You're still paying attention to what's happening. Whereas if you're playing, I don't know, Words with Friends or something on your phone, you're not with everyone any longer. You enter this weird, like, void space.
No, I agree. But let me add one last thing.
Yeah.
Let me extend this tip.
Okay.
This tip is actually an opportunity for GMs.
Okay.
I'll say that. It's an opportunity for the GM to practice their engagement skills. Right? When you have a distracted player, turn to them. Ask them what they're doing. Even if you're in the middle of doing something with someone else, you could say, oh, and what are you doing while he's doing this? You know, what's going on? And unfortunately, the GM-DM does have to balance a lot of people at the same time. And I was running, for the longest time, I was running a table of seven people. And I had to constantly say, okay, what are you doing? Oh, okay, this happens. And I didn't stay on one person more than 30 seconds or so because I couldn't. So, because if I did, then you get the fidgety players, you get people playing around with stuff and or saying stuff, or they're having different conversations. And, you know, in my real world job, I do this a lot by facilitating meetings. So it was a little bit easier for me, but for other GMs out there who maybe don't do that for a living, it's a good opportunity to practice engagement skills. Always ask the players what they're doing, even if you already know what they're doing.
Right.
You know, maybe give them a little update on what they last told you and say, okay, you're not really finding anything. What do you do? You know, or describe something, just a little tip. All right.
It is a nice idea, though. I mean, if you have somebody who is cannot separate themselves from their phones or their iPads or whatever it is, it's a good idea to try and get them to help you out in games so that there is less of that, for sure.
Yep.
All right, so next topic we have for D&D questions are, what edition of D&D is your favorite and why? And what editions have you played?
This comes from Hungry Scribbler. So let's start with you, because I already know the answer to mine.
Yeah.
All of them.
So really?
Yes.
Have you played all of the editions?
I have played all
That's
of the
impressive.
editions.
I've only played 3.5 and 5.
Okay. All right.
As for my favorite, I'll be honest, I've only played one-shots, 3.5, a handful of them in college. with friends as we've been able to. So my experience.
How do you do a one shot in 3.5?
It just doesn't really happen.
Winning counter?
Yeah, no, I
Roll up the
remember we
count-
did a dungeon. All right,
Run
so
up-
the
roll up the
one
counters.
experience that we did was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A friend of mine created a dungeon, if you will, on a spaceship of lost things, and every room had a theme of like things that you lose. And you should have seen
How
it.
many
It
socks
was
did you find?
shameful. Oh my god, there was a whole room full of socks, and I loved
Only
it.
left socks though.
I loved it, but it was shameful for us for how long it took us to realize it was like a ship of lost things. That was a great night. I had a lot of fun doing that. But that said, I have to answer 5e because 5e is the first edition that I've had a real lasting experience with.
Yeah.
That I've been able to look at what I've done
Yeah.
and how it works and how it doesn't work. You know.
So I played every edition.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that 5e has been my favorite so far.
Really?
It is, yes.
Because notoriously, you hear people talking about how great 3.5 was.
No.
That's all you ever hear about.
So 3.5, and again, this is just opinion, but 3.5, all the rules were in the player's hands, and there were so many rules and so many options. I don't think there were too many players or people out there that knew them all. Everybody claimed they did.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right? But you spent more time in looking things up in books, and not one book. We're talking about 50 splat books.
Wow.
Across however many bookcases you had, or whoever could bring the most books at that time. So you would spend all your time doing that rather than playing the game, and in a lot of cases. Because the DM, there was no way that the DM could memorize all the rules.
Okay.
The other problem is it took power away from the DM. And I don't mean power to... A lot of people will argue this. You know, it's like, no, it didn't. If you were a good DM, you can... Well, I consider myself a decent DM. And if you made a bad guy that had this special ability, inevitably there'd be a player at your table that would turn around and go, oh, he must be a level X this, and he must have this skill, and he must have that path. Or they would turn around and go, like, how can he do that? Because you can't do that unless you have this, and you didn't, and he doesn't have enough levels. And so there would always be that. It wasn't clear to the players that the DM can do whatever he wants to make the story fun.
That's what I love about 5e, is that there's so much more freedom. I mean, if you don't like a rule, don't use that rule.
Right.
I really like that. I think it's important in a game.
So, something additional that Hungry Scribbler posted right before we went live is that he also asked, what was your very first encounter with D&D? So I answered that too, but it goes to this. I will say, although 5 is my favorite edition, I do have nostalgic times where I like to play Basic Edition. So if you don't know, Basic Edition allowed you to be it was a fighter, a wizard, a rogue, or a cleric, or a dwarf, or a halfling, or an elf.
Interesting.
Okay? There was no elf fighter.
Right.
If you were a human, you have 4 choices. If you were a dwarf, you had 1 choice. You were a dwarf. And an elf was an elf. That was your race and your class.
Interesting.
Yes. And it's fun in and of itself. It's fun in and of itself. Those were the basic box sets. And
okay.
So my answer to Hungry Scribbler earlier about what was my first encounter is I was 8. The year was 1981. And I was living in Virginia Beach, and I traded away two models that my stepfather had meticulously painted to my friend's older brother.
Okay.
So he would DM a game for us.
Oh, wow.
He did. He DM'd Keep on the Borderlands, which is a classic B2 module. And I was hooked. I was hooked. My stepfather was later annoyed that I traded away these models, a Cylon mothership and a space shuttle. And so he was mildly upset that I did that. But then he gave me the basic set of D&D books because he had them. And then that Christmas I had all the books.
Wow. That's awesome.
So
My first memory, my first experience with D&D was in college. And I recall spending about 3 hours making a character and then about an hour and a half walking down 2 hallways. And it was the most fun I had had in years. I loved every minute of it. I really did. I was a rogue. I don't remember much else. I love rogues. I have like a special place in my heart. And we walked down 2 hallways. It was really intense, let me tell you.
I have a friend that
I loved that. Oh, that was so fun.
and well, I'll end on this. Is I have a friend who still runs 3.5 Adventure, right? And he has one player. He has 2 players who will not level their own characters because it's too complex. So he does it for one person, and somebody else does it for another person. I think that would be annoying.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
Huh. All right. Next up, we've got 2 more topics to discuss. The next is classic. Oh, 3 more to discuss.
All right, so let's hurry up. Let's go through them.
Classic Games Kickstarter.
This is another one brought to us by Rich Ricky.
Yeah.
Is a Kickstarter that has classic games that has a large swath of games that is generally found illegally. So basically what this Kickstarter is trying to do is start up a streaming service to allow people to play all these old games without having to go and download these illegal ROMs to their computer, and who knows what's in them. Sometimes you never know what you're going to get when you download.
Okay.
You got to be incredibly careful when you do that. But this is trying to create a streaming service that allows you to go play whatever classic games that you want. I think that's a pretty cool idea. It all boils down to what's the cost going to be.
What's the cost going to be and what games?
Yeah. Well, I think their intent is to get as many of the old games that they can get the rights to. I think then the cost comes into play.
I think that's a fun idea. Part of me thinks that I wouldn't subscribe to something like that because
you'd go the legal route, right?
The legal or
the
illegal?
illegal route?
No.
You're just saying that for the stream?
No, because okay. So for example, Rich and I were talking about this, and I think we were talking about like Galaga.
Oh, I love Galaga.
So ready? I love Galaga because when I find a Galaga machine, I will unload my wallet on it.
Okay, all right, I see where you're going with that.
Right? So like if I had Galaga on my phone, I'd be like, sweet, I've got Galaga. I'd play it a handful of times, and then it's
then you're done.
It's just a game.
Right.
It's not that experience like going to the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo and seeing all the machines. Like you identify which games you want to play, and you're like, all right, I'm making my way back to that game today so I can play it. Right.
Yeah.
That's important. Like that experience of playing a classic game, it is important to me. More so possibly than the game itself.
I can understand that. And if you want to see the article and the link to their Kickstarter, by all means, we have the link in the description down below. At this point, before we move on to the next topic, I would like to ask you to hit subscribe and hit the bell so you can be reminded.
Please do.
So let's move on. All right, so I don't really have too much of an input on this one.
Really?
I don't.
What?
So, but I'll let you take it.
Okay. Well, I was on Twitter the other day, and I found a tweet by Julie C. Marchese. I'm going to butcher that name.
Yeah.
I think I already butchered that name.
Yeah. Sorry,
Julia. I can't even get the first name right. Julia C. Marchese, possibly.
You better send her a private message and apologize.
I will have to. I apologize now, but I will. I will do that.
You're a horrible person.
She tweeted 5 films that you think are perfect. You wouldn't change a line, a shot, an actor. All right. So this proved to be a really interesting challenge in the office for me. I talked about it for a few different people.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We talked about this at length, actually. And my list that I came up with was Children of Men. Have you seen that?
I've seen it, but I don't remember.
Children of Men.
It's been so long.
The Royal Tenenbaums.
Okay, that's interesting.
V for Vendetta.
Uh-huh.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And now these are all like kind of heavy hitter, quirky comedies / super intense dramas, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to change it up. What's a perfect children's movie, right? I had to pick one, and it's got to be Monsters Inc. It's a perfect film for the family. There's
Okay.
nothing about that film that wasn't done like, oh, perfectly. You hate Roz, right? Do you remember Roz,
Yeah.
the crazy paperwork lady? Like, you hate her, but you love her. She's Roz. She's a
Right.
nutcase.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
she turns out to be a secret hero at the end, which is amazing. You've got that gut-wrenching moment at the end where the door closes and Boo, like, sneaks out of bed and grabs the door and opens it looking for Kitty, and nobody's there because it's just a closet. Heartbreaking! Oh! And the moment when they go in holding onto the door and they're in the back of the factory, and it's like a roller coaster. That whole movie, start to finish, was perfect. It really was.
It was definitely a lot of fun.
Oh.
So I don't know if I can come up with a list of 5. I don't know. I'm just a weird movie watcher.
Mm-hmm.
I like to watch movies. I like to immerse myself into the movie, and I don't want to be like when the movie's done. Don't take me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to necessarily know the actors' names and stuff. I do. I obviously because
Sure.
I'm not stupid.
Now, for
but
me, for that, I'm thinking less in terms of wouldn't change an actor so much as the portrayal of the character was perfectly done.
that's fair.
And that's the case for all 5 of the movies that I had selected.
So Julia's 5 are
Mhm.
Citizen Kane,
Mm-hmm.
Children of Men,
Mhm.
same as yours.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead. I
Mhm.
love that movie.
It was a good movie.
A lot of fun.
It was good.
A Hard Day's Night.
Okay.
Very interesting.
I haven't seen A Hard Day's Night.
And Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes, that was common. A lot of people selected Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I think there's a lot of people that connected with Ferris Bueller's Day
Mhm.
Off.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Probably.
I think everybody always wanted to drive backwards to reduce the miles on their car.
Sure.
I wonder how many times it's worked.
Mm. So I really enjoyed that tweet. I'm surprised you do you have any perfect movies?
You know, interestingly enough, I probably would pick something. Here's the thing.
Okay.
I don't, since I haven't watched them recently, I don't know if I would.
Mm-hmm.
But things like I liked Better Off Dead. I thought that was awesomely put. John Cusack movie. It's a comedy.
Okay.
You know, stuff like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first one, the
Mhm.
original one. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Star Wars, the one that nobody
Mm.
can never see anymore ever, before they changed lines and scenes back in when it first came out, the original one.
Okay.
But I think those would be among the 3. Citizen Kane, I don't think I've sat through that entire movie.
No, I don't think I have either.
I have seen. It's not like I haven't seen it. I've seen it in bits and pieces here and there. It's not one of those movies I'd sit through. But if I wanted to talk about older movies, oh wait, A Christmas Story is very good.
Christmas Story is good. No. Oh, actually, no. I always confuse that. I hated A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
I did
didn't
because
like
I
it.
did public theater, like local theater, and we did A Christmas Story, and it was just
That's fair enough.
having to repeat those lines
Did you-
like day
Were you
after
the one
day
that put
after
your tongue on
day.
the frozen pole?
No.
I'm sure
no,
that's
no,
what it
no.
was.
I think I had like one line in the whole show, which made it worse because like I really didn't need to be there, but I had to be
I
there.
have a question for you. Do
Yeah.
you cry every time you see Monsters Inc.?
Yes, absolutely.
Smurfy Powers right then.
Yes, absolutely, I do. When she opens the door and she's like, "Kitty," oh, the tears, the sobbing tears.
I also happen to like It's a Wonderful Life.
That's a
It's a
good
lot of
one.
fun. I don't want to see it 40 times between Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Right.
but I still think it's...
Yeah.
And the Yule log, I think, is well casted.
Stop. That's hilarious. All right, so let's move on to our last topic,
Yes.
which is gamer fitness.
Okay. So this one's...
You cover this one. I think
Yeah.
you found this one.
I did.
didn't you?
This one was brought to us by Chaotic Anarchy. Her Chaotic Anarchy is the I guess the leader, and if not, I apologize, but is head of Thread Raiders.
Okay.
It's their podcast group, their online group, and Thread Raiders have an online fitness group that they started that is working on losing weight together. For their first month, it's about taking it slow and trying new things, watching portions, and changing bad habits.
Okay.
Anyone can join if they're interested, and the link to the tweet, which will give you the link to them, is on the description down below. And work at your own pace with support.
I like that.
I actually think it's a very good thing. There's another website out there, which I didn't put, I just thought of it now. There's a website out there called Nerd Fitness. If you can't remember that, it's pretty hard. It's called Nerd Fitness, and it's a bunch of guys who create, actually not a bunch of guys, it's men and women who are nerds like us. They got in shape. They have amazing workouts that are done to different types of games that you may have done. And they put together diets, and they have everything, and they have a huge support group there. And I think, you're interested in looking at that, look at that. By all means, check out Thread Raiders online fitness group if they have a support group.
Yeah.
I answered 2 years ago this past February, I changed my lifestyle to a paleo lifestyle, an 80-20 paleo lifestyle, which means I'm 80% paleo. And I lost 40 pounds. And, I feel great. And I've been bragging about this all day, but just on Tuesday, when we were at Taekwondo, we were doing push-ups, and I would not have been able to do this 2 years ago. The instructor said, hey, if you feel like it, do a clap push-up. I have never done a clap push-up in my life.
Okay.
I did them that night.
That's awesome.
I did a lot of them.
Wow.
Well, a lot being more than one. So. I was very happy.
Yeah.
But I would not have been able to do that unless I had lost that weight. And so I think it's a great thing that they're doing. And I also posted for Chaotic Anarchy and Thread Raiders. They're going to be at Gen Con 2019.
Okay.
The booth map comes out tomorrow, so we'll know what our booth is for Gen Con.
Awesome.
And then we'll work out the schedule. Once we do, I'd love to connect with Thread Raiders when we're there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And talk with them.
Yeah.
Maybe we can share war stories
Ooh.
on how it's going, because by that time they'll be about 3 or 4 months in.
Wow.
But stay away from the seaweed snacks that they posted. Apparently they're not very good.
I would not be trying them. I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't like seaweed. I have a character, a bard that I play in an online game that is terrified of seaweed.
Really?
Much like myself, yes.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I like seaweed.
No, ugh. What's to like about seaweed? It's wet, it's slimy, it clings to you. No, it's horrible.
I wouldn't eat it at the beach.
Oh, I'm freaking out just thinking about it. Stop. I really dislike seaweed. I really do.
I'm gonna bring seaweed. I'm gonna wear a seaweed
You
wig.
better not. I swear
will.
to God.
You know I'm gonna.
All right, so let's wrap it up with the wrap up.
Smurfy Power would like prizes with our bets.
She wants prizes with our bets.
Yes.
What are we betting this time?
I don't know.
Is she betting?
She's betting that Morgan cries every time she watches it.
Well, that was a given. She's not getting a prize for that.
Because she knows you so well.
She knows me too well.
Maybe surprises.
All right, so what are we? This week I have been reading.
I'm not quite sure what I would.
Haha. I've been reading. I have read the rule book for Pandemic many, many times. Too many times.
Twice.
4 or 5 times at least.
It's too many times.
It was too many times.
Why?
It felt like a lot. It felt like very tedious. There were still parts that I didn't quite like about it, but it's a rule book.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty tedious.
I have to say,
teach how to play the game.
Catan has a great rule book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Catan's rule book. Pandemic isn't bad. The structure works. It moves from setup to gameplay very smoothly. It transitions perfectly. There's no read this section, then read another section, but nonetheless.
So originally I was in between books, but I'm wrong. I started the last book in the Richard K. Morgan series.
Okay.
Dark Defilers.
Okay.
Land Fit for Heroes. I'm on the last book, and I'm only about a third of the way through. So hopefully I'll have more next week. But I'm liking it so far. It's I don't know how they're going to wrap it. What I'm finding interesting is I don't know how they're going to wrap it all up by the end of this book. But I guess they will.
She is so sassy, this one.
Is it true?
With her last comment?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Hold on. Oh.
I received the most unpleasant photo on my phone today of an image that looks like a donut, which is supposedly some sort of fried bread, with the most repulsive looking bologna underneath it that I've ever seen in my life. It looks so horrible. And I discovered it was supposedly a bologna sandwich, and I'm not having it. If I can find the image, I will show you the image, and we can perhaps somehow get a link to this image of the bologna sandwich.
So you don't like bologna?
It's not that I don't like bologna. It's certainly not a cold cut that I'm going to choose at the deli counter, but I will eat a bologna sandwich if I have not eaten in a few days.
Oh, so it's a last resort meal.
Yeah.
Would you
with mustard? It has to be with mustard.
All right, so bologna without mustard or seaweed after 3 days of not eating.
Stop! Bologna without mustard. Obviously, it's never going to be seaweed. It will never once be seaweed.
What about after 5 days?
No, it's still not going to be seaweed.
What if it was the only thing?
I will vomit the seaweed up. That's just the truth of the matter.
So then you'd have another meal.
I gotta find this horrible picture of the bologna sandwich.
Okay. We're gonna move on.
If you say so.
Yes. So, what are we watching?
The bologna sandwich.
Oh my God.
That does not look like bologna.
Can we even show this?
I don't know that we can.
What do you mean you don't know if we can?
Well, we can show the bologna sandwich. Just make sure it's only that bologna sandwich that we're showing.
What else would we be showing?
Just the bologna sandwich. All right. Let's hold it still because the lighting is going to be bad. There we go. Oh, it's such a bad bologna sandwich.
Can you guys see that?
You can definitely see it. You might not want to see it.
Do you guys want me to
No.
swipe left or right?
All right, stop.
It went off.
Thank God. All right. Well, now you've seen a disgusting bologna sandwich, and I apologize for that.
I'm actually kind of curious what's left and right.
No.
Just maybe when we go off air. I'll tell you guys next week. Maybe. All right. I'm still watching Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I'm going to finish that next weekend.
Yeah.
And Futurama.
Okay.
I'm still going through. I started it over. You know, I found a couple episodes I didn't see before.
I have watched Lost in Austin, which is a super adorable show that's available on Hulu. About a girl. What? Who? What are you talking about?
What?
Oh, you're the worst. About a girl who's obsessed with Pride and Prejudice, who somehow finds her way into a secret door in her apartment that leads her into the home of the Bennets. So it's adorable, and you should check it out if it sounds interesting to you.
All right.
I'm also watching Hannah. I finished Hannah.
Good.
I did. I enjoyed it. Not so thrilled with the final moments of the show, but we'll see what happens after that. And Endgame. I saw Endgame.
About time.
About time. It's been out for a week and a half, and I saw it. I saw it on Monday.
Should have been there the first night with us.
That wasn't going to happen, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
It was very good.
A little fan service in just the right way. I loved it.
We still need to go. We still have another week before we can actually talk about Endgame.
Right.
It's a standing rule.
Right.
We won't talk about it live until.
Well,
I
don't think we should really talk about it on this show, at least.
Why not? We could talk about parts we liked.
All right.
I'd love to hear some theories on certain
certainly
things.
not this week.
No, definitely not this week. No.
Maybe
it has
not
to be
even next week.
It has to be 2 weeks.
I don't know. I wouldn't even do it next week.
All right, next month.
Let's be generous with people.
All right.
Let's show a little compassion.
So, our friend David Vanderwerth is watching Black Summer and playing Stellaris. Stellaris. Dave, what is that? If you can give us more information, that'd be great. I don't know what that is. Smurfy wants you to leave her fried bread sandwich alone.
No, it looks so gross. That's not something you should eat.
Yeah, you could fry anything. I got a deep fryer, by the way.
Do you?
Yeah, we break it out for this fall.
Oh,
let's make starts.
What's my favorite thing that you get at carnivals?
Fried Oreos?
No.
Fried Twinkies?
Fried
Yodas?
The powdered sugar thing.
Zeppelis?
No, where it's just all over the place.
Funnel cakes?
Yeah, funnel cakes.
I was going to get it eventually.
Yeah.
All right. What are we listening to?
Cage the Elephant. I'm going to see the Cage the Elephant and Beck show.
Elephant.
No, you shouldn't cage the elephant, but I'm going to listen to them. Cage the Elephant.
What if it just stampedes all over you?
No. It's my fault for standing in front of an elephant.
Someone told me, and I believe it was Dana, who said that she read or something that elephants look at us the way we look at puppies.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
How about you? What are you listening to?
I am actually back to listening to 3 Day Grace radio station. It's just a mix of a bunch of different bands that some I like, some not. Sometimes I don't like. Let's see. David says that SlyFlourish is by Paradox Plaza. It's a space exploration game playing on Steam. Paradox Plaza makes some of his favorite games: Hearts of Iron and Europa Universalis. Universalis. Did I say that right? I'm going to go with Universalis.
Or Universalist.
Oh, Universalis. I like that.
It could be one of the other.
It could be anything. And he's playing multiplayer with 3 other people one night a week. All right.
Very cool.
That's pretty cool. Thanks, Dave. I like Steam. I'm going to go check that out. I wonder, we should talk about one day, not this week, but we should talk about, there's a new PC game store, Epic Game Store.
Okay.
That's competing with Steam. So I wonder how that's going to work out.
Interesting.
I gotta do some research into that.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, what are we laughing about? I don't laugh. Sometimes.
I haven't been laughing either.
I have a dry sense of humor. I make other people laugh.
When I go into the city, you know, when you walk through Times Square,
that makes me laugh.
They try and sell you those tickets to like the comedy shows.
Yeah. I
always tell the people trying to sell me, I'm like, I don't like to laugh, and I do it with a completely straight face, and I just keep walking because I think it's funny.
You make yourself laugh.
I do. Yeah. Internally, because you got to keep that straight face.
Just for the record, Morgan was giggling before he went live.
That's
I have no idea why.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Plugs.
Plugs. All right.
Plugs.
Right. We start right here. The second one. Start with yours.
So, all right. Patreon is growing, and you can be a part of it too. There's a $5 tier that will gain you access to special content, including content that we don't plan to make public on YouTube, as well as maps, short stories, as well as campaign notes from Alame, our very own.
Please support our friends over at the TSR Games blog. They do some wonderful things over there, and they should have content for everybody. And please support Game Master Games' David Vanderwerth and his weekly Facebook Live event.
Do we know what night the
it's
Facebook
Wednesday
Live event
night.
is on?
Wednesday night, Dave. If I'm wrong on that, correct me before we go offline. But I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday night that he runs the Facebook. You could find it on the Game Master Games Facebook site.
Yeah.
You could do that. So we did get one comment that they like our new black background, but they thought it was interesting sometimes to hear the background noises at the store. So let me just fill you in a little bit on that. The reason why we're not casting live from the store anymore is because they kept giving away our tables. Because people were coming in to play games, and while we like that,
yes, we do in fact like that.
It was bad for us. So we decided to make sure we did something a little bit more permanent. So if you want, I'll go and record it, and we'll just play it back, like when we go live. We'll have a background noise. Or, Dave, if you prefer, I can just take out my guitar and play something while we're here doing stuff.
That would be very distracting.
You think so? I don't think so.
I'd love to see you try and manage that. Stay on script as well as strum away.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm very good at that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of. Well, I was. I did it a lot.
Right.
Yeah, I was able to stay focused on doing other things while playing guitar.
You were right. It is. It's Wednesday night, 10 p.m. on Game Master Games Facebook.
That's why I was right.
Yeah.
Because I rock.
You're gonna have to check that out.
I was also told I was cocky this week by somebody.
That is true. You are.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do we have any quick notes this week?
We do. We do have some quick notes.
Okay.
Do you have a Tuesday night campaign recap?
Our campaign is suddenly starting to look a little bit less good, a little bit more evil, and I'm not sure how Rafi is feeling about that.
It's beginning to look a lot like evil.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. We'll have to see how it works for our characters and their alignments.
All right.
So.
D&D tip from SlyFlourish. Oscillate between easy and hard battles to change up the beats of your game. I like that idea. It's very good. You should do it. Easy, hard, throw in traps, throw in puzzles, throw in things like that, but keep it moving regardless of what's going on. If an encounter gets too heavy and people are starting to bog down, move on.
Environmental impacts effects too.
Yes.
Sudden cover I like that.
Yep, absolutely. My favorite trope in fantasy D&D is a player letting some slang or modern invention slip in their canon, speaking, and when another player calls them on it, they say it's Elvish. Real old dialect, you wouldn't get it. So then, Spaghetti-O becomes Elvish for Cursed Be My Fate. That was provided by Mumbler B. So my thought was maybe we can implement a star system for all inns and taverns. Right?
Yeah, I
and
like
maybe
that.
we could have local Google guides.
That's
They post up reviews about taverns all across the city.
That's clever.
And they go around spurting about it everywhere. Maybe we can have Yelp reviewers at the end. You can walk in there and walk up to a Yelp reviewer and say, "What taverns do you recommend?"
Yes, that's funny.
What is your D&D's character's favorite breakfast cereal?
Shredded wheat.
Okay. Why?
The most bland cereal that there is. Actually, I can't even say that. Well, for
Frosted
most
shredded wheat?
No. On Tuesdays, that's not true. On Tuesdays, it would probably be something horrible like Lucky Charms. But my
barbarians would probably like honeycombs because it's big, big, big.
Stop. You're the worst. But yeah, Nepeta would probably go something basic like shredded wheat. The briquettes.
Absolutely. I'm sorry I was distracted by Smurfy Power's comment.
What did she say?
On purpose, Smurfy.
It's true.
It's not true.
Yes, it is. You get very distracted.
Do you know how many things I'm doing here?
Which is why I don't think you could handle pulling a guitar out too.
The guitar is the one thing that I could actually do while doing other things.
All right, we'll see.
I've done it on stage.
Maybe next week,
times.
if not the week after, we'll see.
Okay, we'll give it a shot when we don't have a guest.
Yes. Well, thank you for watching. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at LRTerrain, on Instagram at Legendary Realms Games. You can join us on Patreon at LR Games. I'm Morgan West.
I'm Rich Parla, and I'm going to add one more quick note that we skipped.
Go for it.
Okay. D&D tip for from Sean Merwin. Tip for players who want to DM. There's never been a better time. Players with no DMs are looking to play. Yeah. Some DMs who DM are looking to play. The number and variety of resources has never been this high. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to take the first step and decide you're going to do it and try, Dana. Oh, sorry, I slipped that in there.
I saw that. It was very subtle.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much.
See, Dave wants me to play guitar.
I'm ready to see it.
You know I have videos on YouTube, right? On stage.
I just said yes when I don't.
You have no idea.
No.
You were distracted. Smurfy, get on her butt. Thank you very much.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.